Let's continue with our journey on Docker. So yesterday we discussed Docker volumes, very important stuff. If you need persistent data, that is, if you want the data to be preserved, Docker volumes is something which is going to achieve you with that. So let's actually inspect the Docker container itself. So let's actually see how many Docker containers are running on my system. First of all, I need to make sure that Docker desktop is running. So the Docker app just started that. So let's see. So if I do a Docker PS, it complains that the Docker is not yet running. So let's wait for this to start properly. Let me increase the font a bit. So if you see Docker PS, I do have the Docker container already running, and if I open this in So if I open this in local port, so that is localhost, was it 8081? No, it is 8888. I should be able to see the login page. The username was admin and the password was also admin, and I signed in. And yes, so this is still working 23 hours ago. And if I just do this, I should be able to do a build number 6, which should also give me a very clear output. Nothing wrong with that, right? Now, this is the container which is already running. Now, let's do a Docker inspect. What is Docker inspect going to do? Docker inspect is going to give you all the details related to the container, right? So it's going to give you all the metadata, every detail, every ounce of detail about the container. Now, if you see, the container ID is not just this number, it's actually a very big number. Uh, so what Docker does is it just shortens it and provides you with this part in the Docker container ID. But in actuality, this is the container ID that we have for Docker, number one. Number two, so the arguments that this is passing is this. So this is something which it is passing when it is starting the Docker container. Totally okay. There should be something called as image. So probably you can do image. So what I can do is grep for image and wow, is not in TTY. Okay. Uh, so grep doesn't work in git bash. TTY. Okay. So this is the image. So the image is Jenkins slash Jenkins, and you could always see the volumes over here. So if you scroll up a bit, you see mounts. Mounts is volume, type is volume, and it is the volume name is my Jenkins, and I have this as the source, and this is the destination to which it is mapped, right? So this is the volume configuration. Now, if you want to get the IP address of this Docker container, so the IP address of this Docker container is 172.70.0.2. Right? This is the container IP address that we are having. Now, if you want, you can also create your own custom containers. The network itself. We'll be doing that after some time. After few more topics, then probably we would be going ahead and creating our own Docker network and everything, right? So that's something which we will have. Now, how do you get the logs of your container, right? So there's again two ways. So Docker PS gives you this Docker logs and then the container ID or the container name. Both of this are going to work properly. So this is the current log that I have on the container. If I want, I can do a control F, which is going to give you a real-time log analysis of your stuff. Let's say I just reload the page. You should be able to see some more logs popping up regarding the container. Let's rerun that. Jenkins is fully up and running. So basically this is the log that we have about the container. As you see, no errors as such. Everything seems to be working fine. So we'll just leave that as it is. Docker PS. Now the best way to actually look at logs is Docker run nginx, right? So let's run nginx, and the port number that I want to map is 38,888 to port number 80. So, okay. So this is the Docker container that is running. Now if I do localhost 38,888, I see this. Now if you do Docker logs for this container, right? This is the entire container. If you do this, and if I am able to reload the page once or twice, you will see more lines being added to the setup, right? Yeah, so this is the real-time live, this is real-time logs of your setup, right? The more I reload, the more logs it gets generated. So this is Control F. This is just to show you that it is real-time logging that is available. So command is docker logs, and then the ID, and that is it. Now let's actually look at something called as variables in Docker. What are variables, right? So for this, what we can do is actually create a file. So for this, we will actually be using the Ubuntu container, and we'll try to pass in some variables so that the Docker container runs with those variables, right? Very simple, nothing fancy about it. So let's actually do that. Do I have the Docker image? If you do Docker images, it will show you that yes, the Docker image is there for Ubuntu. So what I do is Docker run -it interactive mode, right? What we will first do is Ubuntu, and then let's say bash vi. Is vi there? Vi is not there. Apt get install vi vim of apt apt get update. We need to first update the stuff. Once it is updated, then we would be installing vi editor over there. No, unfortunately, we have to do this twice. The first time we will be doing it is the without the variables being exported. The second time we do it, we'll do it with the variable being exported. So let's actually see how that is done. Wow, a lot of packages being updated. Okay, for some reason this is time taking. apt get install vim apt get install. Oh, 72 MB. Yes. For some reason, the network is taking a lot of time. What do we do? Hmm. Okay, let's move on to the next. In Docker, I'll go to Docker file, then we'll come back to variables. Okay, let's do that. So how do you create your own image, right? So far, what we have been looking at is it complete? Wow, I'll say 9. Why is it even asking me all of this? I'll say 8. Okay. Vi run.sh. I go into Z mode. This is $BATCH batch number of the series. Right. So basically, what is going to happen is, let's say I run this run.sh. Let's say I run this run.sh. So what is going to happen is, wow, bash run.sh, vi run.sh. You need to give a shebang bin bash blah blah blah. Shebang bin bash run.sh. Command is not found. Oh, sorry. What did I do? We actually need to echo this entire stuff. Echo the entire thing. So that's what it was complaining, that this is, and if you see, there is no variable that is being passed, and that's the reason why it is showing us an empty space over there. So what I'll do is I'll export this, export without the dollar symbol. So this is batch number 38. So I'll just export this, and now if I run .sh, right? So here you see that there is this variable 38 that is passed, right? So basically this is what is happening. Let's open a new new terminal window, right? And let's say docker ps. So what we are going to do is, let's run this docker run hyphen d. Like I want it in interactive mode, so yes, hyphen it. And then what we are going to do is, Ubuntu is the image, and before Ubuntu I need to pass the environment variable. So hyphen e batch batch underscore number is equal to 38 is what I would pass, right? And then I just need to run Ubuntu. But the problem is, we actually don't have the run.sh over here as well, so we would again be facing the same issue. But then if I just echo dollar batch number, it should give me this thing. Now what I can do is, let's echo the same statement that we had. Let's echo all of this into a file called as run.sh, lsfnl. Let's do a cat for run.sh, and you see that cat is this. Now what had happened is, because we did an echo with batch number, right? So it actually gave me, it actually took the number from the environment variable and actually pasted it over here. So this is 38 being pasted, even though I only pasted batch number. So it actually gave me this thing, which clearly says that yes, the variable has been exported or imported into. Okay, so this is one example that we can, uh, echo batch number, and this is going to give you this. So let's say I echoed something else, right? So I say batch number 338, right? And if I now echo dollar batch number, right, I should get the number this. And if I echo this statement into, let's say, run.txt, I'll not paste it. If I do it under run.txt, you will see that batch number 338 is now coming up. That means the variable is actually taking its own value. So at least the variables are working fine, right? So that is one way in which you could actually pass in those stuff. Now I don't want these containers to be running, so docker rm-f. I'll get rid of all the containers. Yes, there is a better way to do it, but it didn't work on GitLab, so Git bash. So I'm not going to dwell into that. Docker ps and a. Still some are working. So what is docker ps? Jenkins is still working. Docker rm-f. Why it didn't stop? Again, stop. Docker ps, nothing out there. Docker ps a. You can get rid of these images also. So that is docker rm-f. Everything is clear now. Docker ps-a. I don't have anything else. Docker images. Yes, we have few images, but we will keep that to the list. Now what we are going to do is we are going to see how to create our own Docker file, right? So let's actually see how you can create your own custom images. What does a custom image mean? We'll take the same example, wherein what we did is we can take the Ubuntu server, and then what we can do is actually install the VI editor, and then we could actually also do install curl, and then we could try to test it out, right? So that is something that we can get it done. So how does a Docker file look like?